Hey everybody, how's it going? If you're new here, welcome. Today we'll be looking at the Hidizs MS2 Pro in-ear monitors. These are again from Hidizs. These are their new Rhino-inspired in-ear monitors, and we're going to check them out today, see how they sound, the frequency response rates, and how that looks. And we're going to go over what everything comes in the box for it. So sit back, relax, and let's dive in. All right, and here we go. The Hidizs M2 Pro in-ear monitors. These are hi-fi in-ear monitors, and look at that. Even with the lighting, it just looks so nice and pops out on the black. Here on the back, we do have some of the tech specs of things, which we'll go deeper into that here in just a moment. And of course, depending on what you're looking at here, we do have the 4.4 millimeter and the 3.5, which is what we have today. Shows a little bit of what comes in the box. And here on the side, we do see the barcode and some of the other colors as well that it can come in. Today, we'll be looking at the blue variant, which may go against what you see on the box, but it will be the blue one today. But with that being said, before we get that open, let's check out the tech specs, what you'll be working with here. Now, first off, for the tech specs, we do have the 10.2 millimeter dual magnetic circuit and dual cavity dynamic drivers. We do have Hidizs Silvercore BA high-frequency balanced drivers. They are boasting aerospace-grade PU+PEEK composite diaphragm. Again, Rhino-inspired design, as I mentioned earlier. It's a ZA12 zinc alloy integrated molding. Mirror finish design with leather panel. High-purity silver-plated hybrid wired cable. That does come in a 3.5 millimeter and a 4.4 millimeter cable, which you can choose when you order. These are a 0.78 millimeter 2-pin detachable connector on the tips, which do go great with some Bluetooth modules that you can purchase if you want to get those extra. Third party, I don't think Hidizs sells those just yet. They do come with two types of liquid silicone ear tips. It comes with the Hidizs custom pouch to put everything into. And it does have the official high-res certification, 111 decibel sensitivity, and 17 ohms to power them. The frequency response rate on these are 20 hertz to 40,000 hertz, which we'll check out in some testing later. But as we have some testing that typically goes higher than 20,000, sometimes it looks a little weird, but we'll go over that. And of course, if you guys are enjoying the video thus far with all the lovely specs, feel free to drop a like, maybe subscribe down below, but we got plenty more to go over, so if you're not convinced just yet, just hang around, and we'll go ahead and continue on with that unboxing to see what else we get, and so you guys can see everything spread out. All right, let's go ahead and get that top off here. We get to see the nice mirror finish, and that nice blue leather right there on top. Looking nice and sleek. The packaging, I had a hard time getting these out last time, and that was no different this time around. It does hold on very nicely. We'll go ahead and pull the tab here, and we can check out here underneath, which we do have the filters that are already on them. There are 3 types of filters, and we'll get into those here in a little bit. But we are going to see right here on the back, everything is nicely shoved up underneath there for protection. And the manual here, which does have a staple, which means this is a book, so thank you, Hidizs, for that. We do have their card here where you can see all the different socials and how to get in touch with them. And of course, this is your warranty card, so you want to put your serial number and date. Right here, we also have that custom bag that we just spoke about that has their brand on it. But they've got some extra goodies in there. You may have to pry this open because it is magnetically closed, but we've got the filters, which again will have 3 different kinds, and with my testing, there is a very, very little difference of those. The only problem is they are the same color, so they're a little hard to tell apart on this one. The last pair we saw from Hidizs, they looked and had different colors to them, but moving on, we do have that nice silver cable with a nice, what appears to be gold tip on there. And one side is blue, one side is red. We have that embossed Hidizs here on the bag. Looks really nice. We'll go ahead and put this back in because it's just the cable, so it's nothing too fancy. It's the 3.5 millimeter, not the 4.4. Lastly, we do have the black tips and the clear tips, or opaque tips. Black will be for more bass, and clear is more of a balanced style, more of the high ends. Now, we will test both of these with the frequencies here come later, but I'll keep the clear ones for the audio testing just for simplicity. Now, here's where we get into a little bit of trouble, so they're a little hard to get out, but I'll go ahead and take these off screen, and we'll see if we can't get those out. Okay, there we go. We got one. It takes a little bit of effort, and then we'll go ahead and get two. And so now we get to look at these, that nice mirror finish, and with that nice blue leather right on top. It's very clean. Now, the mirror finish, you will see fingerprints on them, so don't think you're going to get away from that. But we can go ahead and see that nice little filter right there, and that does screw off. Might be a little difficult because they are small, but they do look clean. You can see that rhino design clearly on it, and you can see some of their advertisements on the site to kind of really draw that design home. And then right here on the kind of top of it, you do see that 0.78 dual pin connector, which is where we'll go ahead and get this cable back out. And the camera had a little bit of a hard time focusing, but we'll go ahead and get that plugged in here just in time. And one side is blue, one side is red. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean left or right. The left and right are on the earbuds on the top, but you just kind of have to make sure that you got them on the right way to go into the right ear. Now, these do have a nice curve here, so we can see that goes around your ear, so your ear will help support those. Now, we're going to go ahead and check out the manual here. Since it is a booklet, you do get +1 for me on points in my book. Now, we got to scroll through here a little bit and find the English for us to look at. And we'll go ahead and get to it right here. It's a super small book, so got to get a little close. Feel free to pause and zoom in if you need to. But we do talk a little bit about the Mermaid series. We do have some QR codes for you as well, showing you how to put the tips on and put them on your ear with some nice little diagrams, plus change out the filters. And we do have here on this side, this is some safety information, which tells you how long you can listen to what type or loudness of music and for how long before you cause damage, plus some warranty information. And then that's basically it. But it's got some pretty good info. It's right in the middle for English. Again, it's a book, so thumbs up for me. Love it. Now, here are these filters that I was telling you about that does have some different frequencies here. The only problem is, and I'll go ahead and flip these over, they appear to be the same color. All silver, shiny. So, not sure if they're supposed to be, but they are for me. So just kind of keep that in mind. But as of now, we're going to go ahead and go into some testing. What we're going to do is you're going to listen to how these are going to sound first. And then we're going to go ahead and test those against the DT990s. Those are very reputable, and there's a lot of stuff online if you want to look those up to see why those are what we use. But they are a good flat sound. And we're going to hear both of them back and forth. But I will give you a little bit of caveat for the M2s, or MS2, is that it's got an incredible even sound, which we'll go ahead and let you hear that now. All right, so we're going to go ahead and check out the graphs. Now that you've heard how these are going to sound, let's go ahead and talk about what we heard. So I'm going to go ahead and blur out, and they're going to come up front for the graphs, so let's go ahead and talk about it. So the first one we're going to be looking at is the DT990s. So this is arguably, one of the best, cheapest type of headphones we can kind of get for a good bass line. We do see it starts a little bit lower on the bass, and then curves up, and it has a great mid-range. Goes up kind of where it needs to, but not nearly as high. And then we go down and then shoot back up, and it goes well above what it's supposed to. Now, talking about that, if we go over to the Hidizs, the line is not flat, but it's pretty close. I mean, it starts out around 80 and slowly goes up at an angle, and there's no real dips. Now, right around 120 to 130, there's a little bit of a wiggle, but most of it's pretty flat all the way. Now, it curves up and drops down a little bit ahead of schedule from what the baseline is, technically, for what it's supposed to be industry-wise. And then it curves down similarly, but a little early, goes up, and then it has a weird drop-off, which, gotta say, that's just what I've seen with every pair of earbuds or headphones that can go above 20,000 with my testing rig. Unfortunately, that's just what they look like, and I would love to tell you why, but it's probably because it just can't do well with it going above that. So we're really kind of looking at it just before that, and so it's got a good range, and the bass isn't fully there comparatively, just because these are in ear and the testing apparatus, fake ears, but it's a very balanced. It's not super down, curved up, or anything. It's very flat across. And honestly, these are pretty good. You're not going to have bass overpowering things. You're going to have a very clean sound from everything that I played, from rock to smooth jazz to techno to pop. Everything seemed very consistent. Now, if you want the punchy bass, these may not be for you. But as far as a good, clean, balanced pair of headphones to hear the music evenly, these are going to be fantastic. And then we'll go ahead and show this other graph here. We'll go ahead and move the DTs out of the way. And then this one is going to be with the highs. So we have the first one, which was the bass. And then we have these for the clear/opaque, kind of high-frequency ones, which we can see the graphs are a little different. Now, the normal curve or line, kind of slightly diagonal, looks great still. Now, on the high end, around that 13,000 mark, we can see that it's a little bit higher. And comparatively, there is a bigger dip. But again, I can't fully explain that one because it goes way down. And so I don't know if there's just like a dead zone there. But once we switch out the tips, we can see that it does bump up a little bit on the highs, which is what it's supposed to do. And then the bass is just kind of there. I don't see a huge difference in the bass between the blacks and the opaque, but overall, we can definitely say with the graph, we can measure that there is a little bit more on the highs, but it's really not that much. But overall, we can at least visualize what we're looking at here. We can see the frequencies and what they are doing, and comparatively to what you would consider a somewhat standard, very well-tested pair of headphones, they do match up fairly well. But that range typically just kind of goes up and back down on the high end a little bit early in the standard sense. Again, there's no real full standard, but with the software and things that I use, this is what it shows as the baseline, so we're just kind of going with that. And that's generally where you want it to be, a little bit more bass, a little bit bumpier, and then it kind of generally goes, which this is probably one of the closest pairs or most consistent pairs from lows to mids to highs that I think we've seen on the channel so far. Now, closer to matching the curve? No. But as consistency goes, yes. Now, the Hidizs before was also really good. The other pair that we did previously, which you can check on the channel as well, or if you want to check up at the top, we got it up there. But overall, things are great. So, now that we've heard it, we've seen it, we've talked about it, we got to do one last thing that you guys always know we do. Let's go ahead and check out the weight. So we're going to go ahead and get these on the scale. And we're going to go ahead and start off with just one. We got 13.8 grams for just one. If we add two, we got 27.5. And then if we go ahead and add the cable, because you have to have that walking around so you can listen to them, that's going to be a 44.8 total. Now, that might go up a few 0.0 grams, depending on which tips you have. If you have the Basie pair, which is a little bit thicker, that may change that weight just like a little bit. But overall, it's not going to change a whole lot. So you're going to be looking at a 44. Maybe if you got the tips on, if you got the extra large ones on, it might round it out to 45. But overall, that's the Hidizs MS2 Pros. These things are honestly great. We've still got that nice high-quality metal. We've got that nice high-quality sound. It's not as crazy just because it's very balanced. Again, nothing too overly bassy, nothing too overly high, really. And then it's just a good, clean sound all the way across with that nice curve. So if you just want some good, clean sounds and you want to be able to mix things to make sure you know things are balanced, these would be great for that. You can know that it's not going to be overly bassy or overly high. I think these would be a great pair to pick up for just general use. Unless you want some extra bass, then these may not be your best friend, but these are some high-quality earbuds. Now, we do have some pricing and links down below. These will generally be able to be picked up for about $70 to $80 for the kind of early bird special. They do have, if you're able to see this in time, they do have an early special for like a super limited run. You can get these for $60 to $70, depending on if you can pick those up. But that extra kind of limited time special after that is going to be running for a while. So if you guys see this early on, check the links down below. I'm going to go ahead and have links to Amazon, if we can, and then also to their website, where you can check out those extra specials for that. And then after that, the price may vary, but generally 70 to 80 is kind of what you're going to be looking at for these things. So if you do it down below, you guys can help support the channel, and it would be fantastic if you did. And let them know that I sent you over there. But if you have any questions about these, feel free to drop them down below. If there's something for some reason I missed in coverage, feel free to ask, and I'll be able to check them out if I can, if I have the stuff to do it for you. If there's something that requires a video, I can always make it short as well. So totally open to help out. And if you have any questions about any other videos, drop them in the comments. If you go watch some more, would appreciate it. And subscribe and like the video if you made it to this far. If you did, you're the best. And until next time, guys, I'll be here, and I'll see you there. And whether it's day or night, wherever you guys are around the world, I'll see you soon.